Okay, want to welcome everyone to our program today, Managing Your Fleet. So we are doing something new with our webinar topics for this year. We are focusing our topic on an article that ran in a previous issue of Planet Laundry magazine. So as you can see, January issue, Managing Your Fleet was the feature article. So we have a few of the operators that were interviewed for that article as our panelists today. So hopefully you read that, maybe have a few questions for them. To ask questions for the program, you're going to type those in. There's a control panel that's probably on the right side of your screen, and one of those gray boxes says questions. You can type right into it. There's a little arrow you might have to click to open that up, but feel free to type your questions at any point. We're going to try to get through some questions that we have for the panelists, and then we'll open it up to your questions at the end. All right. So before we get started with the program, I would like to thank our sponsor for today's program, Sense. And we have Alex Jakowski, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sense, here with us today. I'm going to turn it over to you, Alex, to share a few words.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And just an honor and privilege for us to be able to sponsor this and talk about, I think, such a incredible part of the laundry business and something that is growing exponentially day over day, week over week, month over month, year over year. There's the opportunity of getting into pickup and delivery. And I'm only going to take a few minutes because I know the most important thing here is to hear from operators and to hear how people are going about the actual development of your fleet, as well as managing your own drivers to facilitate, growing your pickup and delivery business. I really quickly just want to tell you guys a little bit about Sense, and I think a lot of what the responsibility of a technology partner has in this industry, and in particular with laundromat owners. And just really quickly at a high level, let me move this away. There we go. And you guys can see my screen okay, I assume. I'm hoping.
Yes.
But just a little high level about Sense. We have 4 core products within our business, but we're really the leading all-in-one laundry business management solution. We only focus on laundry businesses with our software. We work with over 1,000 laundromats with our team in the U.S. across the country, and we have 90+ technology and laundry business experts. And the main thing that I really want to convey is that our product was built 100% by laundromat owners. We have laundromat owners on our team in a variety of different kinds of stores, but we're also technology experts and executives that have built companies to be able to support small business owners. And that's where I think the important intersection is domain expertise by being laundromat owners, running the counter at stores, owning single stores, multiple stores, running pickup and delivery in a lot of different ways, as well as with a real deep focus on building great technology. We have a core product of a point of sale with employee tracking and payroll, business management, reporting, and so much more. Obviously, our delivery product with a driver app, online ordering capabilities, website marketing tools. We also have our own hardware that enables you to convert coin-operated machines to pay by card, pay by phone with the most affordable payments hardware for your laundry machines, as well as the most affordable capital and lending arm, so you can actually access operating capital and growth capital to support your business, whether it's for ground-up development, a retool, or a small fix in your location. It's all about driving as much value across all the different elements of your business as possible, because we want to centralize that and give you that all-in-one solution. What I want to just share quickly on pickup and delivery, and obviously you're going to hear more from experts who do it themselves today across their stores, is what is the role of a technology company in supporting that? And a lot of our role, and we believe, is not to tell you how to do it. There are certainly wrong ways to do pickup and delivery, but there isn't necessarily one specific way you have to do it, because every market has nuances depending on your demographic, your store size, your marketing, your employee structure, your store dining. Like, there are so many elements that can go into how you should configure your laundry business. And that's and specifically in your pickup and delivery, and technology should help you pilot it if you haven't done it before with low operating cost and low risk. And that's being dynamic on how you get into pickup and delivery and how you invest in your fleet and leverage tools like either the gig economy or your own drivers, getting into subscription and recurring revenue, being dynamic on how do you introduce pickup and delivery to your customers. Maybe there's that walk-in customer that drops off their laundry, and you can actually enable them to have it delivered back so they can actually experience delivery for the first time. And you can start to get into growing your total addressable market by getting into commercial and really optimizing the customer experience. And we're going to hear a lot from other operators on how they've been successful in doing that. And then, of course, it's how you actually can reach your customers digitally through marketing, SMS, email campaigns, a dynamic website. And that's really, to me, what, and with the 1,000+ stores that we work with today, the most important. I could tell you, I could pick 100 operators who run their business 100 different ways and are incredibly successful in what they do. And technology should be dedicated to support you, be a business partner to you, but not tell you this is the only way to do it. And so, I'm excited to hear from other operators, to hear how they run the dynamics of their pickup and delivery, their store, how they manage their fleet. And I think in a lot of ways how technology can help and support what you do. And, we see this make massive impact to our operators, where we see 30% increase in delivery orders, a massive increase in the actual order value, and the amount of revenue you can drive with pickup and delivery can be really, really significant. And one anecdote, with Sense today, the average over-the-counter transaction is about $25 to $27, and our average delivery across all of our locations is $75. So it really can be a massive, massive lift. And there are so many ways to execute and get it right. So I'm looking forward to hearing our panelists talk more about that today. And if you're interested in talking to a lot of other operators, give us, take a demo of Sense and connect with our team and our customers, and hopefully you'll be able to learn a lot from this. So really a huge thank you to the Planet Laundry team for letting us sponsor and be part of this, and excited for what's to come.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna turn it back. There we go. All right, well, thank you so much, Alex and Sense. So CLA has started a new program this year called our Strategic Corporate Ally Program, where we're working with just 5 companies to kind of help support the efforts that we do to educate and provide resources. And Sense is one of our partners in that program. So we really appreciate the support to help bring programs like this to our members. Okay, well, to get started, I want to introduce our panelists. If they can go ahead and turn their cameras on. So today we have Beck Miller from Laundrolab. We have Travis Unima from Brio Laundry. And we do have another panelist. He was having some challenges logging on, so hopefully he will join us at some point. Felix Rothstein from Two Boys Laundromat. So Felix hopefully is joining us soon. All right, well, to get started, I'm going to have you both answer this question, but Travis, we can start with you, which is, if you can give us sort of an overview of how your delivery system is set up. So how many drivers, how many vehicles, do all your clothes come back to one place to process, or do you do multiple? So if you can give kind of an overview of how your delivery system is set up.
So we have 2 vehicles. We have a box truck and we have a minivan. And the box truck typically does our larger custom business laundry, and the minivan does the mix of the residential and the small business laundry. And then we have 2 locations that we drop off at. One is our cleaners, which is, think of an OPL, on-premise laundry, or like a commercial back-of-house laundromat. The other is the actual retail laundry store. And between 2 vehicles, I have roughly 4 to 6 drivers on average. I have 1 full-time, and then I have the rest do part-time. We do deliveries Monday through Saturday every week. So managing that does take time to do the maintenance on the tires and the fueling and the gas cards when you have 6 people that are all sharing 2 vehicles. And you have really 3 types of accounts. We have the residential, small business, and then the custom commercial laundry. So learning the accounts does take time for the drivers to where to go, each location, and where to drop off the laundry when they pick it up.
Great, thanks, Travis. Beck, same question. If you can kind of give an overview of the delivery system for laundromat.
Yeah, of course. So we have about in Charlotte, which is our largest operation, we have about 16 vans. On any given day, we'll have 14 or 15 of those on the road. We have a couple extras that we keep just as we have vans go down for routine maintenance and things like that, so that we don't hinder our ability to service all of our customers. And how our routes work is the morning. So when drivers come in at 9 a.m. until the early afternoon around like 1, 2 o'clock, those are all pickups. So they're going out in the morning and they're picking up all of the dirty clothes that our customers have left out for their scheduled pickups. And then they're going to our cleaning facility. So they'll go to our laundry labs. Most drivers only go to one laundry lab, but we do have multiple in the Charlotte market. So certain drivers will go to one, certain drivers will go to another, whichever one's closer. And they'll also go to our dry cleaning partners. We don't do any of the dry cleaning in-house. We have a relationship from a wholesale standpoint with dry cleaning vendors. So they'll go to the dry cleaners as well. At that point, they basically trade. So they're dropping off the dirty that they just picked up with the cleaning facility, and they're picking up the clean from that cleaning facility that was cleaned the previous day. And then the latter half of their day, everything after that until 5, 6 p.m., whenever they finish up their routes, those are all the deliveries. So they're going through and doing all the deliveries. And we operate with a 1-day turnaround on everything, with pickups Monday through Friday and drop-offs Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay, great. Felix, it looks like you're on. We can't see you. I'm not. You might need to unmute potentially. Okay, well, we'll give it a minute and have him come in. All right, so thank you both for kind of sharing your whole delivery system. I think, we could do a whole webinar on questions about that, but the focus of today's webinar is really on the fleet, the vehicles themselves. So Travis, we'll go back to you. How did you select the type of vehicles that you use for your pickup and delivery service? Did you consider cost, size, safety? And then the part 2 is, what aftermarket modifications should people consider once they buy the vehicle? So 1 is, how did you select it? And 2, if there's any sort of modifications to consider.
First of all, is for our pickup and delivery residential was what was available. We just used a Dodge Caravan 2016 minivan. It gets good mileage. It can haul a lot of space. Pretty relatively cheap to fix. Tires are pretty cheap on it, and it was easy to modify. The only modification we did, besides decals and advertising, was we removed all the seats out of it, and we put a carpet bedding with a dry cleaning bar, which also acts as a bar so laundry bags don't tip over. It's almost like a support down the middle. That's really all the modification that we needed to do on that, was just essentially a dry cleaning bar and a little bit of support for bag packages so they don't fall over. The other is a box truck, fairly small box truck, but that was purchased out of necessity based on the custom commercial accounts that we do, where we have to service laundry inside of facilities like hospitals and other stuff. So the amount of laundry, you can't carry that. Bags will rip, people can't carry it. You got to go up and down elevators. You need to have trolleys. So having, a lift gate that can back up in a trucking bay and be able to go up and down, that was kind of the choice on the box truck. And it can haul a lot of laundry, but it gets worse mileage, maintenance is a little harder, and it requires a lot more training to have someone to use the box truck, driving it, backing up into walls or other cars and stuff like that. But it's got a lot of benefits, but it also comes with more training for the drivers.
And we'll get into training in a little bit. So same question, how do you guys select the type of vehicles, and did you do any modifications to it after you purchased it?
Yeah, we use predominantly Transit Connects when we first started getting into the business in 2016-ish. That was the kind of best option for us based on the intersection of cost and size and how many pickups we needed it to do on any given route. Our drivers are going to be doing about 20 to 30 at most pickups, so the capacity is there to hold all the laundry that we need. The mileage is as solid as you're going to get in something with that level of capacity, and we set up a lease structure with them to cycle through them every few years. With how supply chain issues have been over the past year, though, we've kind of expanded out of that, and we've added some Dodge to the fleet and other things like that, because it's kind of a take what you can get environment, because there's just shortages across a lot of that stuff. So we've had to go away from only doing the Transit Connects just to keep up with the demand and version through those supply chain issues. In terms of aftermarket upgrades, similar to Travis, we do have a hanging bar across the top. We don't put in a true vertical dry cleaning rack that would come all the way to the back of the van, as most of our pickups and deliveries are not hanging. They're just the bundles of clothes from residential customers. So instead we do one horizontal across that goes behind where the driver and the passenger seat is. And that's where we load up our dry cleaning or any hang dry orders that we have. And then we have a separator behind that all the bags for the wash, dry, fold go after that.
Makes sense. Felix, are you with us yet? Okay, I can see his name, so it's hard to tell. So we'll flip it and start with you this time, Beck. If you can share some of your best practices related to managing your fleet, so repairs and maintenance, to kind of keeping the vehicles gassed up, like what tips would you share with someone looking to get into this business?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just keep up with it. Little things can compound and turn into big things very quickly if you aren't actively monitoring all of your maintenance with the van. So doing your oil changes and all of those sorts of routine maintenance that you would do on your own personal car, you need to be doing that stuff with the vans in your fleet. And it's easy to accidentally let that get away from you if you're not the one driving that van. You're going to have drivers that go and get in that van and there's 2 or 3 lights on the dash and they never tell you about it because it's working for them, and they don't even think to relay it to you. So being in the loop on those things, like whether it's a manager at your store or yourself, getting into the vans, turning them on, checking the mileage, checking the last time it's had routine maintenance done, making sure there's no lights on it, things like that. There's softwares that can help you track that, or you can just use a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, even paper and pencil works. There just needs to be something there that you are staying on top of that stuff with, so that you don't run into the really large issues after something's been sitting for a long time.
Amazing that someone would see lights on a dashboard and not mention that there may be something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it happens. I'm Travis, I don't know if you've seen it, but it happens all the time with us.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. We do maintenance Mondays where they go through, I have a checklist to check me things. One of the things on there is there any lights on or anything abnormal? I do my best to listen to my drivers. They're the ones that are driving the vehicle. Trying to get them to explain, hey, what's going on with the vehicle is important, because then you can do the maintenance on it. Still, every once in a while, every other week or so, I just take one of the vehicles out for a ride, and you can notice, hey, maybe the tire's getting flat or whatever. Preventative maintenance is the key. Otherwise you have a vehicle down, and then you got to find somewhere to rent, to cover while your vehicle's getting repaired. So definitely preventative maintenance, pay for it. And I have a number for 2022. So for 2 vehicles, I spent about $3,000 on maintenance, between getting tires fixed or windshield or, cracked mirror or lift gate maintenance, stuff like that. So I haven't split between each vehicle, but you can look at a couple $1,000 maintenance probably per vehicle each year. And that's probably a good number for people to use.
That was part of my next question. So you did a nice job answering it, which is what could people sort of expect as an estimate that they would spend on maintenance? So Beck, you want to share?
Yeah, ours isn't far off from Travis. I mean, you're gonna have to, over the course of the year, like your vans are getting a lot of mileage on them. Like our vans every year are doing 25,000 miles a year. So like you need to do a lot of the routine maintenance stuff. So those expenses just add up. And then you're occasionally, especially as you get into the 50,000 plus mile mark, you're gonna have the bigger things that start happening that need to have work done to them. And if they don't fall within warranty, they're going to add up. But I think the number that Travis mentioned is in line with probably what we see on average. But, you know, occasionally you have a transmission fail or something and it's out of warranty and it's a lot more than you anticipated.
Great. So talked a little bit about how you select and maintaining insurance, because that's a big piece of also managing your fleet. So we'll start with you, Travis. What do you think are the most important considerations for properly insuring your delivery service? And if there are any common mistakes that people should avoid?
So it's all about how much liability and coverage you want. I don't really care as much about my van as more I do is about the people in the van and then the other car out there. So working with your insurance person, you gotta have to figure out which plan is right for your vehicles and where you travel at. If you're traveling in high traffic areas or an industrial area like the oil refinery, you might want some pretty good insurance in case someone crashes into like some sort of pipe or something like that. We spend about $3,000 a year per vehicle just on insurance. And also pick an insurance company that can you can do a driver check, like check their license and stuff like that, keep it on file. Make sure you have good drivers before you hire them to have a good record, because that's always, it'll cost you in the long run.
Good advice. Beck, anything to add from your perspective on insurance and mistakes people make?
Yeah, we're in the same boat as Travis in regards to our insurance provider checks all of the licenses. Like when we hire a new driver, we have to provide their driver's license and their personal information to our insurance company. We do our own background check on them, but they also run a driver screening and make sure that they're, the age that they want them to be. Like our insurance provider will not insure any of our drivers if they're younger than 25. So we have to hire 25 and older so that we can have our drivers on our insurance, because younger drivers can affect your rates. So all those things kind of play into it. So like Travis said, it's really important to just have those conversations with your insurance provider to understand the need. One thing that I think if we had to go back and do it again, we made a lot of insurance claims for things that we probably shouldn't have. Like we made claims for a door not working because it got sideswiped in a parking lot, or there's little things that in the grand scheme of things, it would have been better to pay for them out of pocket because our rates went up. And then when we launched our service in Tampa and Florida, it ended up really hurting our ability to get insured there. Florida's a no-fault state. And so as we expanded there, we had several claims on our record and it was super hard to find an insurance provider. So I would just be intentional and do the cost benefit on what each of those claims are.
Yes, good point about Florida. My mom lived in Chicago, moved to Florida, and the only thing that increased with cost of living was her insurance by about 4 times. Florida is high insurance. So the next question I have, I think you kind of addressed, which is best practices for communicating with your insurance provider to make sure that your policy is always up to date. So it sounds like you both have good communications with the insurance company. New drivers, you always have them check first. Any other tips as far as communicating with the insurance just to cover yourself?
I would say on the other end, like you have onboarding drivers, but make sure you're offboarding them as well. Because if you have a driver leave the company, you want to make sure that they're taken off of the insurance. Because otherwise, if you forget to do that, you can just build up and you have 50 people sitting on your insurance, even though only 16 are actively working for you, and that can affect your rate. So just make sure you're keeping up with that.
That's a really good point. Travis, anything else you have to add?
I would say that's spot on, but offboarding from that. And if you have other kind of off insurance topics, but some places require badges or TWIC cards or stuff like that. So that can go into the cost of that too. Or some companies even have subscription-based stuff for your drivers to enter the facility. Make sure you offload them so you're not paying for it. It's kind of a little plug after the insurance thing, but other exact things what Beck said.
Great. All right. So moving on to drivers. So if you will, we'll start with you, Beck, sharing some of your best tips for finding reliable drivers, how you train them, and what, without getting into maybe exact numbers, but what type of compensation package do you think supports the best retention of drivers?
Yeah, so finding them, you know, we do all the standard stuff, right? Like the Indeed posting and going across job boards and promoting that and things like that. But where we've seen the most success in sticky drivers that are there for a while, they don't churn quickly, is referrals. Like your good employees are most likely going to refer other good employees. If you have a problem employee, I would take that referral with a grain of salt, but good employees are most likely going to refer other good people. So we've had a lot of success in that. We offer a referral bonus if someone does refer somebody and they stay on for, I think it's 60 days, maybe 2 months, they stay on, we give a referral bonus to the individual that referred them. So that's a big thing for us. As far as training, we do it in kind of a multi-pronged system. Their first day is a lot of stuff like HR administrative onboarding, right? So like getting them set up in our HR system, getting them set up on our timekeeping system, getting all of their profiles set up for everything with the company. It's usually a half day. And then they'll do multiple days on the road. The first day, they're going to be shadowing. So they ride along with one of our senior drivers who's been there for a while. And that senior driver is going to be doing a slightly smaller route so that they can take longer to show them everything. And they're going to teach them how to use the app, how to stage the bag at drop off, how to take photos appropriately, all of those sorts of things. And then they'll switch. And then the new hire will take over the driver's seat with the senior driver sitting in the passenger seat and overseeing them. And they'll go through it that way before they're cleared by that senior driver to go solo on a route.
And then compensation, do you do any sort of bonuses, or what do you find works best to retain good drivers?
Yeah, so we do, we have a probably like most markets, you know, we have an Amazon fulfillment center here. So Amazon kind of dictates the market for a lot of the frontline labor. So we're paying in between $15 and $20 an hour, depending on seniority and responsibility. Like, are they training? Are they not training? Things like that. Full-time employees do have access to healthcare. We have a 401k. We don't have matching for it, but we offer a 401k. And there's health, dental, vision for anybody that qualifies as full-time. And then we'll also do bonuses for quality. So if they go, you know, a week without any errors, they didn't drop a bag at the wrong house, or they didn't miss a pickup or anything like that, they get performance-based quality bonuses as well.
Great. Just curious if they have any sort of traffic violation or accident. Do you take care of that, or does that reflect in their compensation somehow?
It depends on what it is, right? You know, if they're in a company van and they're going 70 in a 35, they're getting fired, right? That's not something that we can have, because they're going to be, your drivers for the most part are the extension of your brand. That's probably the only time the customer is going to interact with your brand. And so that's super important to us, like obeying speed limits, not being an aggressive driver, not tailgating, you know, all those things that, like, they're driving a big pink van around with your logo on it. you get phone calls immediately, and so that stuff gets corrected very quickly because it's found out very quickly. We also have telematics in all of our vehicles, so we can tell if somebody is speeding. We have all of that reported from the van via that software, so we keep a close eye on all those things.
Great. So Travis, kind of the same questions. First, how do you find good drivers? How do you train them? And then how do you compensate them to keep them?
So for the drivers, I look for someone who pays attention to detail and looks presentable. Because just like Beck said, they're an extension of, my company, my brand, and the rest of the people that work here. So someone that has good eye contact, a nice smile, provide them with a uniform, a cell phone for them, give them the tools they need and the training they need. If you have a driver, you just kind of send them out and say, go for it, it's not going to end well. So for the training and, the onboarding paperwork, that's all separate. Once you start the training, understanding and giving them the knowledge of the vehicle helps them perform. So going over, like, don't just say check the tires, show them this is how you check the tire. This is what you're looking for. This is how the car operates. Just the full encompassing, like lift gates, how to use the lift gate properly and safely. Giving them the tools, and then once you have that expectation set for your drivers, then that's how you can almost grade them on it. Like, if they're not following your process, then you have something to check on. You're like, oh, I didn't do my Monday maintenance check. Like, well, you were shown how to do it, instructed how to do it. So you can always kind of go back to those training things if your drivers aren't performing. If the drivers are performing, just like Beck said, we follow a very similar to Amazon for pay range. We're at 20 to 23 for our drivers. And then I also offer commissions. They're the ones out there driving and picking up laundries. They might see a business that I didn't see before, or they might talk with someone while they're at the gas station. So for any new clients that they come and bring to us, make an order, I give them a cash bonus. It's kind of a fun way for them to reach out and use their time while they're out there and promoting your brand. Find someone who wants maybe a little bit extra money. A couple times a week, that's a couple $100. So that's been a pretty good tool to get new residential and businesses. It's just a little commission.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because I know on one of these programs before, they said when someone sees that van in their neighborhood, then they're asking questions of their neighbor. Oh, what's that? And so a good way to bring in more customers in that same neighborhood.
Yep. So like you'll see behind me, this little thing right there. It's like a little circle I give the drivers, and it has all the information and contacts. If someone's like, hey, do you guys have a laundry service? Yeah, sure. Here's the information the driver needs to give to them, and then they can get in contact and set up an account. So it's like an extension, of your business, and they're riding around everywhere. So why not advertise? Why not brand and hire someone and find someone who's cheerful and excited and wants to be a part of it?
That's got to be a hard set of characteristics. Cheerful, wanting to do that,
Yeah.
and be a good driver.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but to me, it's about how you treat your drivers and how respecting them. Like, finding someone who's responsible is hard, but once you do, reward them for that, pay them well, and give them commissions, and listening to them about maintenance of the vehicle, and really it becomes their vehicle. That's kind of the ownership aspect that I try to get out of my drivers.
Yeah, well, you'd want them to treat your vehicle like it is their own. Well, this kind of brings us down to our last question. Felix, I'm going to try you one more time. It looks like you're muted. If you hit that microphone to unmute yourself, we might be able to hear you. So it looks like you are on as a panelist. Not seen.
Yeah, my computer audio didn't work, but the phone did work. So maybe trying that could be a solution.
Yeah. Oh, now it looks like you're green. We might be able to hear you now. Felix? Okay, well, I tried. For some reason we can't hear. So like Travis said, if you want to call in, you're welcome to help answer some questions. So the last question I'm going to ask, we'll start with you, Travis. So you've been doing it a while. I'm sure you're doing everything right, but if you would share maybe a mistake that you've made at some point that would help our attendees avoid.
I think I'm at a perfect time to answer it because I think I'm going through it right now, and I think it's not getting rid of a vehicle soon enough. just with maintenance and stuff like that, it does increase over time. So I think like laundromat and Beck they haven't figured out kind of like the mileage for a vehicle for maintenance. Finding a replacement won't always be easy. So just kind of know that as the vehicle gets older, maintenance is going to go up. Maybe it won't, but sometimes it does. So one of the things I've done in anticipation of that is a local company that does repairs and rentals. I'm very close to them. They do all the oil changes, do all the stuff. So when my vehicle is down, like a transmission or something like that, within the same day, I have a partnership where it's like, okay, I can rent this vehicle, the same kind of like a same minivan, and we're off and running. Doesn't have all the advertising stickers on there, but it's important to keep that customer happy by keeping the pickups and drop-offs coming. So planning ahead.
Great. So Beck, I'm sure LaundroLab is perfect, but any mistakes you're willing to share?
Yeah, we've made plenty of mistakes, definitely more than our fair share over the last 6-7 years. One thing I will say, this is I guess less related to the vans and more like the process of pickup and delivery as a whole, is take photos like at your pickup, at your delivery, have your drivers take photos. And you don't need a software solution to do this. I mean, when we first started, we were building the routes on MapQuest and then managing customer lists on Microsoft Excel and had a Google Drive folder for things like this. But you're going to want to always have that proof of what you picked up and what you dropped off. And having your drivers take photos of that will help you down the road when a customer says a certain thing didn't come back, or they didn't get their bag of laundry at all, or they left out 2 bags and they only got 1 bag, whatever it may be. I would highly recommend you have your drivers make sure they're doing that.
I got one more thing to add. Kind of Beck touched on it a little bit, and the way I word it is advertising builds your route, software scales the route. So if you are doing it manually and stuff like that, be prepared with your advertising when you increase it. Have a solution to scale it, because otherwise you'll have customers that you can't help and can't service, and that's always a bummer, is when you disappoint a customer. It doesn't always end well. So be ready to expand as well, because the numbers I get, every year after year, delivery is becoming more popular than drop off in store. So have a plan to scale and have a plan to keep your vehicles running and keep your drivers happy.
Good advice. So that brings us to the end of our questions. I see we do have some people that submitted their own questions. If others have them, feel free to, again, type them into that gray box that says questions. So a few of the questions it looks like you've already addressed. The first one is about using software or apps to manage, which you both said that you do, and that helps you not just keep organized, but like you said, if you're expanding, it helps to have the software. Let's see, there are a couple questions about looking for employees, which I think we already addressed as well. Oh, here's one. What are your thoughts on hiring drivers who have personal vehicles they can use for pickup and delivery?
If you do, go and look at that vehicle and see what's in it. And would you want your laundry in that vehicle? I would stay away from it. But if you do, know what you're getting into. We clean our vehicles every week, inside and outside. If someone's got a dirty personal vehicle they're using, probably not the best idea, but it might be a solution for intermediate or until you get your own, company vehicle. Just make sure you talk to your insurance about who's responsible at what point, because if someone's using their personal vehicle and they're doing business for you, that can be an insurance nightmare. So check that first.
Yeah. So one question having to do with drivers. I know you both said that you run people through like the insurance, but do you demand a 100% clean driving record? Or is there some tolerance if they've had a speeding ticket or something along those lines?
Yeah, we have a tolerance for minor traffic infractions that are not repetitive or habitual, right? Like parking infractions or a minor speeding ticket that happened 5 years ago, or things like that. Any kind of reckless driving or DUI or those more extreme things, there's a zero tolerance policy on, and our insurance wouldn't clear them to be added onto our insurance to be a driver anyway. So we go ahead and nix that before we even put it forward to the insurance after we do our initial background check.
Travis, are you the same, or do you require 100% clean record?
Not 100%. Everyone gets speeding tickets, stuff like that. I'm not as, strict when it comes to that. But if there's like big red flags, just trust your gut and go with it. Also, if you're doing an interview with someone who's your delivery driver, walk them out to their car, when the interview is over. Is their car clean, outside and inside? That's kind of what I base it off of.
Right, because how they take care of their own vehicles, how they're going to take care of your vehicle, probably. So how, I guess, Beck, we could start with you. How do you allocate the cost of mileage, gas, and drivers to income?
So we track we use a system through it's WEX, it's a gas card system. And so through WEX and our telematics, we're able to see all the gas that was spent on an individual vehicle. And then through the telematics, we see the mileage for an individual vehicle. And so as we're looking at everything on like a monthly P&L, if we're looking at the income statement, all of those things kind of factor into the cost of goods sold for a business. So we have our top line revenue coming in, and then on the logistics side, which is all of our vans and everything on that end, we have those individual line items flow under our logistics expense as cost of goods sold, if that's the question. But we're tracking them through WEX on the gas side, and then the mileage and everything comes through the telematics.
Travis, how do you allocate the cost of mileage, gas, and drivers to income?
With a smaller fleet of 2 vehicles, it's a lot easier. You can just have, one card for each one and keep the receipts and just track your expenses. And then whether it's weekly or monthly, whatever you compare, just keep it consistent and you'll be able to build data over time. So keep track of all your numbers, all your expenses, and that's kind of the way you have to do it. You just got to keep track and then try to project the best you can. Hard to when gas prices fluctuate a lot, but just do the best you can and price accordingly.
So Beck, this question is directed at you. So do you still prefer the Ford Transit Connect van? And what is the max mileage of the van before you replace it?
We do. We had, I forget what the Dodge, ProMaster is what the Dodge is called. We've historically had a lot more maintenance problems with Dodges, but you ask somebody, they're going to have a different experience than us. That was just our experience, was that the Fords were more reliable. We found that around 75,000 miles is when we start to have transmission issues. And so our vans average about 25,000 miles a year. And so as a result of that, we structure all of our vans on 3-year leases so that we're rotating them out with a new van every 3 years, which is right around that 75,000 mark.
Great. And then Travis, this question is directed at you. And they're wanting to know if you use Indeed, Beck mentioned that they do, or some other online service to find employees, drivers specifically.
So I've gone back and forth. There's one near here called hiremewa.com. It's like the radio stations almost banded together and made their own website for hiring in the area. Works really well for us. That and Craigslist seem to work better than Indeed. I think Indeed does work well, but if I look back at who I've hired recently, most have been Craigslist and then local job posting websites.
So I guess this could be either one of you. Did you ever think about, or do you ever think about outsourcing the pickup and delivery? And they're wanting to know would that work from a cost perspective? So Travis, you're shaking your head yes.
So I'm currently looking into it. You can't say brands or names, but I think there's definitely partnerships that can be made with different types to augment your pickup and delivery. Depends what software you use, and then there's, Uber Eats, for example, and stuff like that. There's other brands that offer ways to augment your pickup and delivery. I encourage you to look, if you don't have the people or the vehicles for it, look into those. Might be a great way to, add some additional revenue or change the way that you do your pickup and delivery. Vehicles are expensive. They do have maintenance, do require drivers. So there is an appeal to if something else has their vehicle and drivers and they still bring it to you, but they're also not your brand. So depends kind of what you want. I've been looking at some other options, to do on top of it to keep the laundry flowing.
What about you, Beck? Have you guys ever thought about outsourcing?
So all of our drivers are W-2. It's all company vans. Everything's branded. Everything's uniform, and that's important to us on our branding side. The gig economy, anybody that's 1099, you legally can't train them on a process. You can't have them wear a uniform that does anything, that shows laundromat or 2U Laundry or whatever it may be. You can't have them drive a branded van. So you lose some of that side of things. I do think, like Travis alluded to, like there's a lot of opportunity for a one-off, two-off pickup of laundry utilizing DoorDash integration or Uber Eats or any of these like pickup and delivery services to get you volume that you otherwise wouldn't have had. And the end customer is the one paying the pickup and delivery fees. So like that's a win-win for everybody. Like it's a price that they're comfortable with. You're getting extra volume to process, you're getting paid for it. I think that's all great, but it's really tough to scale to any sizable amount of wash, dry, fold, like route ability with doing that solely. If you want to scale to a very large business, I think it's pretty important to own it yourself, whether that's with full W-2 staff or if you're getting your own 1099s and they're showing up and running routes for you. Like it's tough to do it using a third-party system if that's the scale you want to go to.
So someone is asking to get commercial accounts, which I believe you both do in addition to the residential. What is the recommended marketing budget? Or I guess even if it's not budget, what's the best way to market yourself to get some commercial accounts?
Depends on your budget. I do 5% of all my gross goes right back into marketing, and I shift that between whether I do custom or whatever. I don't like the term commercial laundry. I like custom commercial. Most laundromats like us aren't going to beat the Aramarks and the people, like the large businesses like that. You got to find those businesses that are smaller and need custom laundry. Hey, I need it folded this way, or I need a special delivery, or we do aquatic filters for, this large fish tank. It's like, I don't even know how I would find that. So word of mouth and advertising, you got to be out there. Like that custom laundry, the verbiage like that kind of, resonates more with people who are like, oh, I'm not a commercial. I don't need commercial laundry, but custom laundry. And they're like, oh, that kind of gets their brain thinking. So be careful of the accounts that you get. Make sure you're able to service them.
Anything to add, Beck?
I know enough about marketing to be dangerous, so I don't know if I'm qualified on the marketing side to talk about anything there. And predominantly, most of our customer base on the 2U Laundry, Laundrolab side of the business is residential.
All right, so we're getting down to near the end. So the last question I'm gonna ask both of you. So is your pickup and delivery business bringing in more revenue than both self-service and drop-off wash, dry, fold?
So based on being a laundromat owner with a pickup and delivery, and you're going off of, the question is, there's delivery, there's drop-off, and then there's in-store, and you're asking in-store versus pickup and delivery, right?
Yeah, well, that she's saying, or he is saying, pickup and delivery versus self-service and wash, dry, fold, drop off.
For me, 100%, I want them to do their own work, right? Less labor hours, less vehicles, all that stuff. If I didn't have to, or want to do pickup and delivery, that'd be ideal. But the way I do it, I priced my pickup and delivery to cover the cost of all the employees I have. So, and picking how much laundry you're able to store and to clean and process depends on your employees and how they're trained and what you can do. So first come up with what you want your goal to be. Do you want more people in the store doing laundry, or do you want your machines turning maybe all day and all night? Once you know what your goal is, then figure out how to get there. It's nice to have options because like when COVID changed things, pickup and deliveries kind of exploded. So having that option, being ready to do that. So being flexible, I think, is what everyone learned about during COVID.
Yeah, definitely. So Beck, anything to add there?
Yeah, if we look at like aggregate revenue from our 2 corporately owned locations in Charlotte and the walk-in business, so inclusive of both the things you mentioned, the self-service, the drop-off, wash, dry, fold, and all the like vending sales and arcade sales and all that sort of stuff, and we aggregate that with the pickup and delivery, the pickup and delivery is probably about 35% of revenue, and the walk-in is the remaining 65%.
That seems to be what most operators are saying, that the self-service is the core of the business. And like you said, Travis, they're doing all the work.
Yeah. Our numbers are a little different. We're at, I would say 10% of our growth is, between pickup and drop off. And then the 80-90% is all people in store. So I definitely price people out of the pickup and delivery and drop off. Wouldn't force them to do in store, which I know is going to be more profitable. So depends what your goal is.
Very good advice. So in just the short time that we have left, I did want to share a few other resources. Travis and Beck provided you a great amount of information. As I mentioned, if you haven't read Planet Laundry, it comes to your mailbox, or you can go online and read the digital version, but there's more information in that article. We also offer a few other resources. So we create white papers, which are like best practice guides. The information is provided by operators like Travis and Beck. So we have one on developing a wash, dry, fold business. I know there was a question about commercial laundry. We have one on that. There are a few others. If you are a CLA member, all of our white papers, which there's about 20, are available for free to you in our e-store by logging in. We also have a number of videos on this topic. So I listed a few of them here. They're basically programs like this that are recorded. So today you heard from 2 operators. If you watch some of these videos, you're going to hear different perspectives. Some information is consistent, but some, everyone does it a little differently. So great videos to download. Again, those are all free if you are a CLA member in our library. We also have a drop-off training kit. So if you're trying to move to offer this service and you need to train your attendant, this is a training video that they can go through. It covers some of the proper folding techniques and even has a little printable stain removal guide. This again is in the our e-store. So I wanted to share a couple of our upcoming virtual events. So in March, we have one, and again, these are based on articles in Planet Laundry. So you'll get the magazine first, read the article, and then if you want more, you can attend the webinar. We have one on pricing for profit in March, and then growing your self-service business in a full service world coming up in April. If you go to our events calendar, you'll find more information on those. You can register. All of our virtual programs are free. We also have brought back our face-to-face events, CLA Connect Live. So we do these, they're small local events in different areas of the country, meant to bring together people in the industry in that area. Usually it's for a dinner and networking. So here's some of our upcoming: Florida in February, North Carolina, Charlotte. So Beck, I hope I see you on March 30th. Texas in April, and then you'll see a few more here. So again, our website has, we have pretty much our locations and dates set for the rest of the year. And then lastly, one of our big events is our Excellence in Laundry Conference. So this brings together about 200 operators. It's going to be in San Diego, May 9th through the 11th. We have some really great speakers coming. There's lots of time to network. And as you can see by the photo, it is in an amazing location. So that is open for registration. This website has more detail about the speakers and the agenda and everything there is going on there. So new this year as part of Excellence, CLA started a Women Invented Laundry initiative called the Women's Laundry Network. And we've done a few virtual events. We did a luncheon at the Clean Show, but now we're going to do a full day event for women in laundry. And we're sort of tagging that onto Excellence. So the May 9th, I believe that's a Tuesday, there'll be a full day event for women, and then the opening reception for Excellence starts that night. So for any of you who would like to attend, there's more information here. I know we have a lot of males on, so if your partner, significant other, coworker is interested, please pass that along. Travis, I know your mom is attending. I'm excited to see her there. So it's going to be a great event. All right, well, that brings us to the end. So Travis and Beck, I want to thank you guys so much. Felix, I'm sorry that you had some technical issues. We'll bring you back another time and make sure you can get on to share some of your experience. Once again, I do want to thank Sense for sponsoring the event. Alex, if you wanted to say a parting word, you could pop on if you're still here.
Sure. Yeah. No, thank you so much for, I mean, this was really fascinating to hear. And I think so many really incredible points on how many different ways there are to run this business, but then also the similarities that every great delivery business has together. So, you know, from the Sense perspective, and as Travis said, there's a lot of ways to go about getting into pickup and delivery, because it can seem daunting about hiring and vans and this and that. So there's a lot of ways to be able to keep that delivery business your own and leverage additional tools that allow you to get into the industry, get into the space more. And I think, you know, I'd encourage everybody to look at all the options that are available that fit your business the most, and definitely consider taking a demo of Sense and learning on how we can support you on the self-serve, commercial or custom laundry, walk-in and delivery as well. So I really appreciate being able to be part of this. It's amazing industry, amazing time in the industry, and you know, excited for the additional events to come.
Great. So thank you. So thank you all for attending. I believe I forgot to mention at the beginning, this whole program was recorded. So within 24 hours, you'll get an email with the recording. So in case you want to go back, listen again, or you had to step away, you'll get the full recording of the program. So with that, I hope everyone has a great afternoon, and I hope to see you at our next CLA event. Thank you very much.